Hello, thanks for watching. Let's have a look at a card deck today. Work Your Light by Rebecca Campbell. This is a very, very brightly coloured deck and actually full of light in all the cards. I absolutely love this illustration on the front, and it's there in one of the cards too. It's like a corridor of the soul, isn't it? It's almost a physical corridor. We see kind of temples like that, particularly from the ancient world. But then we've got the golden triangle up here, all that magic, really a lot of magic singing out of this box, and it's very much the way with the deck as well. Each card has roses all around it, which to me has always been a symbol of getting in touch with the afterlife. And I've done a few readings with these now as a medium, and I'm finding that they work very well indeed. So the book that comes with them then, Work Your Light. I'm not one for going off books, but I've had a glance through it. They're divided into 5 different suites. Each one will kind of tell you different, answer different questions in a different kind of way. The first suite is confirmation cards. They kind of just give you black and white, 1 card answers. They're pretty good. In fact, you can do 1 card readings with all of these. I just about have done already, actually. Then there's another suite of inquiry cards with kind of prompts to help you get in touch with what's actually coming to you from the universe, and from your guides as well. Prompting things which should be about getting life more in tune with the spiritual way of doing things, which is a challenge for all of us actually, whether we've been doing it a long time or not. Staying in tune is a difficult one. There are always so many distractions coming up. No escaping from it. It's the nature of life, and this deck, like many other decks, will actually help us with that. I found it very useful, and so have 1 or 2 friends that I've done readings for so far. We get to suite 3 then, they're action cards, and they're meant to actually sort of get you to do something, as the title action card suggests. It gets you a bit more easily able, to gauge not just the energy of the situation, but which way you're actually going to go. And part of that is going to be which way you've actually been going for some time now, which we usually find we're on our way to doing the right things, Strange how that happens, eh? But I was pulling some cards by star sign the other day, and I actually forgot to go for Virgo. For some reason, I just skipped right over Virgo while I was doing it. But then when I got to the end, I just had this urge to pull another card, which I just sort of blindly pulled and showed to people and interpreted. And afterwards, when I looked through it, I realised that the spirit, my guide, basically, my spirit guide, had actually given me a card despite the fact that I'd forgotten it. Which is pretty amazing, really. So in terms of the action cards, we very often find we're already somehow headed in the right direction. We might have not exactly the wrong idea, but a different idea to what's going to be the best thing to do. The action cards will help with that. Suite 4 activation cards, and that is actually about getting up and getting alive and getting into the thing, which is another challenge actually, because a lot of spiritual guidance and spiritual direction comes into us from our dreams, and whether we act on our dreams or not, that's quite a thing, isn't it? I'm always telling people, keep a pen and paper by the bed to write your dreams down, because it's amazing how much of our dreams we forget within the first 10 minutes or so. It's very easy to do that, and this and many other reasons to do with the nuts and bolts of living this life in this world today are distractions, really, from not just from action, but from actually getting activated in the first place, and taking the attitude that you're going to make things happen. So the activation cards are very useful for that, and it's really about activation from within. These are all things that we've already got within us when we come to an activation card, and this is one reason I like doing 1 card readings with this deck actually, which is Work Your Light by Rebecca Campbell, and I'd better say artwork by Danielle Noel as well. That's worth mentioning because the artwork is stunning, and if we look at the back here, it's a kind of a regular Hay House box, it's got the barcode, which is probably full of, I don't know, life-depleting magnetic things of some kind, and some pictures on the back. A fairly good description, and are you ready to work your light? Anyway, I've missed one there because I'm always doing that, aren't I? But there we go, I'm on it now. Suite number 5, transmission cards, and Again, there's an initiating side to these things, so they're very good if you're at the beginning of your path, or if you're going to be doing readings for people at the beginning of their path. And if you're going to be doing readings at all, then pretty soon you're going to come up against someone who is at the beginning of their spiritual path. Not up against them in that sense, because, you know, people come to us for help and that's what we want to give. But they may be slightly kind of resistant to things, and it's about getting through that in a way that makes them feel comfortable. There's nothing worse than go to a circle or something, or a mediumship course, and there's kind of someone there who's really got the gift in a big way, but is actually a bit afraid to use it. The only thing to do for those people is to allow them to come into it gently. If you force the third eye open, it becomes a ragged thing and it needs a long time to settle down. But some people will badger others, you know, come on, I did this in 3 weeks, you should do it in 3 weeks as well, or, you know, that kind of thing. There's no way of putting a time on things. It's just when people are ready. But we can help people feel a lot more ready with the transmission cards in this deck. It says, cards that act as initiations and transmissions, connecting you to the energies that want to work with them in current time. Connecting you as a reader to the energies that want to work with these people. That's what it is. That took me a while to figure it out, but there we go. We shall have a look at some of the cards just now, but I do want to show you what's in the box. And I've emptied the box because I've got it all out in front of me here. But this says, can you see it? You are the Oracle. It's faintly printed in there, but you know, it's like that, this deck. It's kind of etheric. You have to remove yourself from glove puppet. Remove yourself from the glove puppet of reality. That's what I'm trying to say to make that happen. We got Hay House here, actually very gently printed on it. And again, inside the lid, you are the Oracle. And we've got these gold triangles appearing. Well, triangles, gold triangles, white, all kinds of triangles appearing everywhere. And I do find that very inspiring, actually, because triangle is such a... what's the word for it? Transmutational, really. You know, you can put a lot of energy into a triangular form and it will all congregate at the highest point. Somehow it always uplifts. And we could find explanations for that within the laws of physics quite easily. The science tells us a lot about that. In fact, it was in a physics lesson when I first learned that. We had to heat up a pin and we found that the body of the pin cooled down quickly, but the point was still hot because all the energy gathers towards a point. It's one of the things in the laws of physics that plays into the spiritual laws as well. The laws of the universe are in fact what's in charge of all this, so they're bound to meet up somewhere, and one place they meet up is very much in the triangle. And we find it everywhere. All the conspiracy theory stuff about the United States dollar and the Federal Reserve will tell you the power of that triangle that they've got in there. And there's a lot of other things going on as well. But whether it's conspiracy stuff, whether it's stuff we 100% know to be real, or maybe conspiracy stuff that's going to turn out to be real, as I'm sure a lot of it is real, actually. It's just hard to tell what. Has that triangle symbology as part of it. And isn't it a triangle of forces, really, folks? I mean, we're here on the earth plane, as it were. We've got science going that way, spiritualism going that, or spirituality, I should say, going that way. They all meet at the top, they all join into one thing, and we are actually part of that triangle. People speak of love triangles, where people have kind of, you know, relationships have either gone wrong or are going very right because of such a thing. And like any other kind of triangle, it's unpredictable, isn't it? You know, it's kind of not so safe, basically. And having three sides to a thing instead of two makes it that much less safe. I'm sorry, I can't edit to save my life, folks. I just lose the videos when I edit them, so I'm going to have to leave them in. Right, never mind. Let's move on. That's the best thing to do, is keep moving. First, let's take a closer look at the image on the back of this. Just more wonderful pastel shapes and swirls. You could read the back of this card in its own right, to be quite honest. And 4 beautiful red roses there, and some sort of pink roses and carnations, all very flowery. And there's a lot of green and a lot of turquoise in this deck. And those are 2 very important colours in terms of manifestation, because The earth energy is what we're really working with when we're working with the highest energy as well. They link together, they work across the divide. So there's the turquoise of speaking your truth and of spiritual truth, and there's the green energy of not just the earth but the sea, the sky, everything, you know, all the elements of nature are all involved. Now then, let's have a look at some cards. I won't go through absolutely every one. Goodness me, no, because there'd be no surprise in it for you then, would there? But look, Starseed, what lights you up? That's worth thinking about. It's a good time for planting seeds in the world generally at the moment, as I'm doing this video. If you're watching in the future, I don't know what time it is of year, but thanks for watching anyway. But if you're watching like today or in the next week or so, we are pretty much in springtime in the Northern Hemisphere at the moment. Everything's coming back to life. So it's a great time for planting seeds, and it's an important time for knowing that those seeds are actually going to grow into something. And if you plant enough seeds, you will get a result. So yeah, that would be the main meaning I take from this. But look at the colours again. So I'm supposed to be reviewing this, aren't I? So we've got that up there in the sky. We've got this beautiful purple vista as well, and it's just full of, I could look at it all day. I can see the face of someone just here, just poking in through the mist there, looking in. Tells me that spirit guides are close around when that comes up in a reading. And so that'll draw our attention to anyone's spirit guide who's coming through. Very helpful indeed. And of course we've got bright stars. And I don't want to say too much because we're going to read these things for ourselves as we come up to them. This is a great deck for you if you're starting on your path as a light worker and you just want personal recommendations to pull cards for yourself. But if you do that, I don't think it's going to be long before you're using this deck to actually pull cards for other people and help them on their path. Well, you might actually set off with that intention, in which case, great, keep going for it. Here's another card. This is a rather dark one by comparison. This is called Trust the Niggle, and I'm not keen on that word because it just sounds so much like the N word, but it's a word we use in Britain a lot for things that just, come on, get it done, things that are nagging at you. The kind of things that won't let you drift off into meditation, and it is important to let go of those things when we go into meditation. But here's a lady who's looking right down, right away from the world. She may be in meditation, but she's looking down, and that's the wrong way to look. It seems like she's surrounded with darkness, but if you just focus in on that, she's actually surrounded by light. The sky is full of darkness, but that's the nature of the world, isn't it? She's surrounded by light, and she's got her two companions there who are very grounded, very much in this world, but they're not carrying the colour with them. She is the one carrying the colour. And she looks a beautiful soul, this lady, only she's either not aware of it or not putting it to any use in the world. So a great card in terms of helping people and actually helping yourself if you feel like the darkness is all around and there's just nothing you can do to get away from it. It's actually quite a valuable card. This one's come up several times in readings. I actually wondered if it was possibly like stuck to the one next to it or something, but I spread them out all on the floor, and that's how I get the newness out of a deck. I vacuum the floor up so it's nice and clean, or a big table is even better. I just haven't got a big table. And I spread the whole deck all out so each card is individual, and I randomly pick them up from different places. And it just means the static electricity that comes with these stuck in these from the printing process doesn't make them stick together. This actually isn't a bad deck for not sticking together, though. It's got a matte kind of a finish. It's not really glossy. That actually makes it a lot easier on the eye, and it does seem to make it easy to shuffle. I get a broad range of cards coming out of this, but that niggle one comes out nearly every time, so that must be meant to. Okay, let's have a look at one more card on here. This is Answer the Call. What is your soul calling you to do? Now, if you're having a reading or thinking about buying a deck, I dare say you're thinking about answering that call. And just look at the size of this. We're not clear whether it's sun or moon. Looks kind of like the moon to me. But who knows? This is what it's all about. It's the imagination. It's whatever you're drawn to think it is when you're reading it. And it's got a life of its own as well. And look at this lady contemplating, not miserable, not happy, just sitting contemplating. And there's the waterfall here, clearing all the... well, just clearing, isn't it? It's the water having its clearing effect. So much we could read into this. There are crystals in it. I would say that was an amethyst crystal here, but further down it looks more like citrine. What is your soul calling you to do? And when this card comes up, that is either what you're thinking, wondering about when you're reading for yourself, or what the querent, the person you're reading for, the client, as it were, it's an indication of where they're at, basically. So there we go. I've had a look through it. I think this is a lovely deck. I'm looking forward to doing more readings with it, actually. I didn't use it that much when I first got it, but it's become quite profound in the way I read it, and it's got a lot of magic behind it. Now then, a quick word about Hay House. A lot of people, excuse me, a lot of people don't much like Hay House because of the money thing and the Doreen Virtue scandal, which I've got a few videos on my channel about that, so do take a look at my channel, by the way. But after all that Doreen Virtue stuff, because she converted to Christianity famously, she kind of, I wouldn't exactly say brought ill repute on Hay House or anything, but it was a kind of ending, a parting of the ways for Hay House. It wasn't too long after that, sadly, that Louise Hay passed. You know, much respect to her, and may she, you know, rest in light perpetual, as she spent a lot of her life trying to spread the light to us. She did make a lot of money out of it, and I'm not comfortable with that at all. But right, think of this. I'll just reach over here a second and bring out. I mean, these are the Hay House decks that I use, and they bring hope to people all the time. It's only some of them. This is another one I got recently, Kyle Gray, Keepers of the Light Oracle. There's a review for that somewhere on my channel. This is a deck that I've been using for a very long time. Daily guidance from your angels. Same format. You can see the writing's all worn out on that. This is brought healing to a lot of people, this one, I should think. And actually, so has this, the Ascended Masters deck, one of my favourite Hay House decks, which tends to come in useful when things are very complicated or very intense. And messages from your animal spirit guides. I mean, this is just, it's incredibly powerful. I don't know what else to say about that. It's amazing. So the fact that this deck, Work Your Light, is actually a Hay House deck doesn't bother me. I don't care about those things. I don't worry about those things. But do have a look at this, just to show you there is life outside Hay House. Look, different sized box and everything. Ask an Angel, Tony Carmine Salerno. This is another deck that I've been using for maybe the last 10 years or so now. And it's just great. Absolute beautiful healing light images there. And it doesn't seem to lose its appeal as the years go by. Some of the Hay House decks do begin to look old-fashioned, kind of 10 years, 12 years down the line. But I don't think these are going anywhere. I think this is going to be a very, very popular deck. It's a new one on me. I hadn't seen it until a few weeks ago, but I'm very glad that I got it. And I know it's come out in more recent times than most of the other ones I use. Okay, folks, thanks very much for watching. If you've enjoyed, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't, you know what to do. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell to make sure you don't miss anything. And I can't remember what else I was going to say, but have a fantastic day. And thanks again for watching. Bye.